Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of January 13, 2019. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing week it is, and it truly is one of those weeks where if it has felt as if there's supposed to be a big change and you can feel it in the air, well, this is where it comes into our full awareness. You add to this one of the peak moments as part of the larger Jupiter moving through the sign of Sagittarius cycle, and plus some super romantic energy in the late part of the week. Well, there's so much to talk about here. So it is Mercury this week that will be activating the eclipse point, essentially retracing the steps that the sun took last week. It is going to be at the very beginning of the week that Mercury will meet Saturn in the sky before moving on and speaking in harmony with Neptune. So it is this early part of the week that has to do with, on the one hand, looking at things from a measured perspective and accepting things as they are. For some, this might be more challenging than others because this has to do with reality. And sometimes, especially if we're very invested in a hope, in a dream, in a desire, sometimes the reality and the disconnect it has from our expectation can be something that takes a moment to understand or get used to. However, the great thing is that if it was Mercury and Saturn all on their own, I would say, okay, really be very mindful. However, it is that beautiful connection with Neptune that tells me that whatever our reality is, whatever it is that we are coming to understand is the truth that we need to at this point in our life, we're able to take it and transform it into inspired action and into a sense of heightened compassion for ourselves and for each other. It is going to be Mercury that continues this journey at the end of the week by meeting Pluto in the sky. Now, this is especially important. This is very much about truth. This is very much about either being all in and focusing and dedicating ourselves fully to the new beginnings, to the change that is now being inspired, that is now becoming evident, or it is realizing that this is not the path for us and that we are meant to go in a different direction. Sometimes with Mercury meeting Pluto in the sky, it can be emotional. It can feel as if the awarenesses and the sensations are in some ways physical, but it has to do with having a deep and profound, if not transformative moment, a different way of looking at things that either strengthens our resolve and our commitment deeply, or it helps us to understand that we are meant to go in a different direction, in a more empowered direction, in a more honest and essential direction at that. But what's also happening as we end the week is that the sun is going to speak to Uranus. This is a conversation of tension, of surprise, and it is a conversation where an insight, an epiphany, or perhaps an external occurrence occurs very quickly and in ways that we had not anticipated. But it is ultimately these two energies where, taken individually, can both serve as a catalyst for truth that changes us in meaningful ways. Well, this energy of evolution, of change, of honesty, of rebirth even, becomes that much more heightened. And it is going to be some very synchronistic moments, moments that feel very consequential, moments that feel fated, that have an element of quickness to them, that are part of what helps us to see things very differently than we might as we start the week, but ultimately in a way that helps us to evaluate where we are and how we feel about it and what is the more authentic way forward. Uranus and Pluto both are planets that are very concerned with authenticity. They go about it in different ways. They help us to become aware of what it is to walk a more authentic path for ourselves in different ways. So it is Pluto that shows us where it is that our own wounds, the things that have hurt us, the ways in which we have been conditioned, have in some way spoken to or shaped our understanding of our own potential and of our own desires. Where is it that the things that have hurt us have now turned into ingrained patterns or ways in which we speak to ourselves or ways in which we behave with others? At the end of the day, what Pluto teaches us is that if we are operating on automatic and behaving and desiring things that come from a place of deep conditioning of our wounds, of the things that have hurt us, that we've transformed into preferences, well, that is a place of a lack of awareness and a lack of consciousness. It is a place where we are not consciously choosing the outcomes that we want and what it is that we are truly desiring. We are instead responding to some of our earliest environments, or maybe even not as early, but instead we are responding to or building these protectionisms against the things that have been unpleasant or challenging to us in the past, and maybe even perpetuating it. With Mercury meeting Pluto, we become aware of these patterns. We gain powerful insights into the truth of a situation, which ultimately leads us to a truth of ourselves. Now, Uranus does things differently. Uranus is very much about the energy of a revolution. It is glimpsing the future. It is seeing things as they are now, but more importantly, with a lens, a visionary lens, of where it is that we desire to go or desire a particular moment or situation to go. And Uranus is ultimately inviting us to honor a deeper instinct. Honor an instinct, an inner authority that is leading us to move and evolve and leap forward beyond whom it is that we've been conditioned to be in favor of whom it is that we have been created to be. And when we are open to that vision of who we've been created to be, that is the true act of rebellion. Because then we truly are aligning with a higher, more loving, more wise future for ourselves and for our lives. Now, these moments of awareness sometimes can come about in ways that feel really good. They feel fun, they feel empowering, they feel easy. Life is changing and we like it. But sometimes some of these changes can actually come about, or these awarenesses can actually come about in ways that feel challenging or may not necessarily be very comfortable. And that's how it can be sometimes when we have Uranus speaking with the sun in this type of conversation that astrologers call a square. The sun is in the same part of the sky that Mercury is in now, that the eclipse was in last week, that Saturn and Pluto are in as well. And so in some ways, it is the sun speaking with Uranus that is helping us to bring awareness, helping to open our minds, open our hearts, and open our perception to where it is that our true change and our leap forward and our own journey towards eclipsing the past and stepping into whom it is that we are meant to be now. Well, what is that going to be uniquely for you as part of your unique journey? It is Uranus that reveals that to us and helps us to see where there could be some benefit. Now, the thing is, again, because of the type of conversation this is, it's a square. Sometimes what can happen is that we feel that we want things to be different. It is something within us that is feeling as if we are ready for change. We want things to be dramatically different than they have been. We are the ones who may be behaving in ways that are rebellious, that may not always make sense to a lot of people around us, but are tremendously valuable nonetheless. And that can be part of how it is that this energy is realized. Now, you put these two energies together, Mercury meeting Pluto, deeply intense, deeply transformative, and the sun speaking with Uranus. And this is an energy that is prolific, that is insightful in ways that are not always comfortable, and that is determined to change, to leave the past behind towards a more favorable, a more liberated, and a more authentic future. And you put these together, and it does look very likely that if you are one of the people still waiting for the eclipse to deliver its message to you, well, you won't have to wait very long, especially considering the energy that we are culminating the week with. All of this energy that I've been speaking of has been highlighting the sign of Capricorn. And it is the sign of Capricorn that has to do with a few different things. So it has to do with matters that actually are going to be highlighted throughout this year in powerful ways. I spoke about it at length for the 2019 special horoscope video that you can watch on YouTube as well. But I do want to mention, because this is one of those weeks where this isn't the only big energy that's indicating something even bigger happening, but we've got other things happening as well with Jupiter that I'll talk about in just a moment. But there is a lot of focus that we are going to have over the course of this year in this archetypal energy of the sign of Capricorn. Now, the sign of Capricorn has to do with a few things. It has to do with structures and authority and the boss and what we understand power to be and whom we give authority to, whom it is that we allow to be the boss and the boss of us. It has to do with corporations as well. And it has to do with ultimately the skeletons. Not in terms of the things that we hide, but sort of what is it at the core that sort of holds everything together so that it can build that much stronger? And what is it that is going to last? What is it that is built to last? And what is it that is just illusionary? We think it's meant to last. We think that this is power, but it's not authentic power. Well, these are going to be some of the contemplations that we are going to be having as a collective, and some of the things that we are going to be talking about as well, whether it is in our own journeys, but also, of course, because Mercury has to do with the media, we may notice particular media attention paid on these matters over the course of this week as well. Now, also this week, going back to the beginning of the week, we have another energy as well. You can sort of think of it as, like a radio, okay? Radios, not as popular as they once used to be, but still very important parts of mass culture. And when you have a radio, it's got lots of different channels, right? There are lots of different frequencies. And sometimes, depending on where you are in your life or on the planet, certain stations are easier to pick up. The frequencies are coming in a little bit more clearly. But we have that ability to sort of hold a lot of different frequencies in the air at any given time. And it's kind of like that sometimes with the planets, where we'll have these different streams of energies playing out. So right now, one of the strongest streams is playing out, emphasizing the energy, the archetype of the sign of Capricorn in our own individual journeys. The entire cosmos is within us. And so it isn't that, oh, this is only going to speak to Capricorns. Far from it. Everybody in at least one area of life has this energy highlighted and being spoken to. And so we have that playing out. That's a very strong frequency playing out right now. However, there's another stream that's happening that is awakening at this time, and it has to do with the archetype of Sagittarius. Now, contrast that with what I just told you about the archetype of Capricorn. It is the energy of Sagittarius that is much more expansive, that is much more about inclusion and about the world, whereas Capricorn is about the structures and power. It is the sign of Sagittarius that sort of dissolves borders and opens itself up and feels a sense of freedom and prioritizes the freedom as opposed to the priority of building something necessarily. It's prioritizing experience and being in the moment much more than focusing on ambition and goal as the energy of Capricorn might. The sign of Sagittarius is being activated this week in powerful ways as well. Early this week, we are going to have the first of a series of peak moments as part of the larger dance between Jupiter and Neptune. Again, I've spoke about this at length in the Jupiter special horoscope. You can watch that on my YouTube channel as well. And I spoke about how this conversation is going to be ongoing. But then we have these peak moments where we're going to want to be a little bit mindful, because Jupiter in Sagittarius is very much about the possibilities and being optimistic and going big, and maybe not necessarily seeing all the details, but being okay with that. And then we have the planet Neptune, which amplifies that energy that much more, where it becomes about faith. If you have faith, miracles can happen. Anything is possible. If you feel it, if you see it, if you're riding an emotion, it's enough. The spiritual life is what really matters. The physical doesn't matter. These can be a contrast that don't necessarily bring a lot of balance. And when these two planets are speaking from the signs that they are, in their home signs both, in very strong positions in the sky, and they're speaking to each other in this conversation of tension that is playing out right now, well, that can be very powerful in terms of us not necessarily feeling very rooted in one or the other, not necessarily feeling very rooted in the world, very rooted in spirit, maybe having very heightened expectations that may not necessarily be as reasonable. Now, I do think that a lot of this is going to be contained, thankfully, by the fact that under the same sky, Mercury will be meeting Saturn. So I think that in a sense, on a mind level, which is what Mercury is about, we are going to be able to see things in a way that feels more balanced, that feels more connected to practical matters, which is the best way to be, because it is by being strongly rooted in the earth that we truly can dream big and reach for the clouds and have it count for something that much more. And I think that the energies in the early part of the week are going to remind us of the importance of both. Yes, aim for the clouds, but also keep those roots very deep in the earth. With Jupiter and Neptune speaking to each other, these are going to be energies where chances are in at least one area of life, we might be getting a little bit too carried away. So we have to just be mindful of that. We may feel a little bit caught up in more escapist tendencies as well. So that's also something to keep in mind. Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius is about dissolving borders, expanding our understanding of the human family, connecting to each other, seeing ourselves in each other, and realizing how small the world actually is and how interconnected the world actually is. And it is Neptune in Pisces that is an invitation to bring compassion to that. These two planets speaking as they are, that compassion and that sense of giving can feel like a challenge. However, it is an opportunity for us as a collective. It's the work that we are ready to do as a collective to stretch our ability to love and to be compassionate and to see ourselves in others in ways that we have not before, and in ways that ultimately will increase the bond that we all share as human beings. Now, finally, the mid to late part of the week, we are going to have another energy, saving the best for last. In some ways, it's the best for last because we have a beautiful, romantic, passionate energy thanks to a supremely harmonious connection between Venus and Mars. Now, the ancients said that these two were cosmic lovers. In fact, you can read all kinds of stories. We look at the mythology that comes from places like ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and they spoke at length. They really, the artists and the writers explored at length this connection between Mars and Venus. And so Venus, of course, is a symbol of receptivity, a symbol of pleasure and self-worth and prosperity and just love and knowing that you are worthy of love in all of your moments. And it is Mars that is considered a more active principle. It's a principle that has to do with action and desire and attraction and knowing yourself completely, knowing your truth and acting from that space with determination and with self-certainty. So you bring these two energies together, and it can make for a very romantic environment on the one hand, very passionate as well, because Mars is in its home sign of Aries, and you put these together, both of these planets are in fire signs. I mean, this is very much like lust at first sight, desire at first sight, feeling propelled towards another person, feeling inspired towards another person in a very quick moment that you feel that is undeniable. But this can also be a chance to reconnect and feel a sense of bonding and feeling a sense of love within an established bond as well. Now, that's the love way to understand this energy, and I do think that this is going to be a time that does have a lot of romance to it, but at the same time, of course, this can just be fun. This is a fun energy as well. Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. The sign of Sagittarius being so expansive, being so much about inclusion. Well, on a more immediate level, it tends to be this sign that also speaks to enjoying yourself, enjoying your life, enjoying the world and the people around you, which is why, at least in the early part of the week, we have to be careful that we might overdo it with that Jupiter and Neptune energy. I would really, as I said, escapist tendencies, be a little bit careful there, especially if you like to partake in those types of things. That's where you want to be a little bit careful. But having said that, once we get to the mid-late part of the week and this Venusian and Martian energy meet, I do think that this is going to be a lot more embodied. It's not as much likely to get carried away. However, it is fun. It is a good time. It is feeling good, feeling alive, and feeling engaged with your life and loving the life you have and being excited about the future prospects, feeling enthusiastic about the things that you are putting into place now that are increasing your level of happiness, the adventure that you are contemplating or taking on, that in some way will further reveal itself, but can also translate to even bigger accomplishments, bigger manifestations in the fullness of time. What I love about this week for us, well, look, there's a lot here, but I do really love that Venus-Mars energy. I think that that is so easy that a lot of us are going to find ourselves with just the right opportunity to enjoy. That really is what it comes down to. There's so much of life that can be about what we are responsible for, to whom we are responsible. And that is important. That's how self-respect is won. And that is part of the sacred lesson of the sign of Capricorn. However, it is times when we get a chance to realize that life isn't necessarily all about the goal or all about what it is that we have to do, but sometimes it is about connecting with our desires and celebrating them and sharing them with others, that it makes for a balanced perspective and it makes for a life well lived. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? What are you excited about? Let me know in the comments below. I absolutely love reading you guys and interacting with you guys. And if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you and your sign, you can log on to nadiyashah.com, sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. And of course, special horoscopes are on my website as well, nadiyashah.com. Thank you so much to all the superstars out there for celebrating 2 years of Superstar with me. It was a huge transition. It was a really big moment for me to launch Superstar. I shared all that in the newsletter that goes out for Superstars. And so I thank you. Thank you for your amazing feedback and for the love and the community that we share and that we grow. And thank you so much to everybody who continues to support and enjoy the special horoscopes that are on my website as well, nadiyashah.com. I've got a whole bunch of amazing events coming up in person and online. This coming week begins the Forecast Marathon with Astrology Hub. It is a free online event that is going to take place. It features some 12 world-class, world-renowned astrologers. I am so truly feeling grateful and blessed to be considered in their company. Some of these people are my friends, really amazing astrologers. I have seen them right in their zone, doing their thing at conferences, and I've connected with them. I've seen them online as well. And so it absolutely is a treat to, not only for me personally to be part of this amazing group, but also for us as together for sharing this experience to be part of this amazing Forecast Marathon event. And as I said, it's free to watch live, it's free to sign up, and the link is in the description below. Other live events coming up. I'm so excited. In less than 2 weeks, I will be in Las Vegas, and this is a huge deal to me. I will be celebrating my solar return with all of you in Las Vegas, and I will be speaking at the NCGR Stargazers Las Vegas group. The venue recently changed, so please do check that out, the updated venue. There's been such a huge response that they have to make it a bigger room than it normally is. And so thank you for the love and support, for all the enthusiasm, for the people who've been reaching out and saying, hey, I want to come meet you. I would love that. I am ready with the hugs. So let's get our hugs. We'll have a lot of fun. We're going to learn about karma and love. It's going to be so incredible. And I'm just really looking forward to it, to being in Vegas, to being in the energy, and to being with all of you. I'll have a small number of books available for sale on a first come, first served basis. They're expected to sell out, but I will be there. And if you've attended one of my talks before, you know I always give a free gift. And so I've got the gifts all sorted out right now. I've sent a lot of things in advance. I ordered a few last minute things as well, because I really like to give something that you can take away and something for you to enjoy and remember the moment that we shared together. So there will be gift bags. And this is going to be just before the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year, which will be a few days after my talk. And where it comes to the Lunar New Year, of course, check out my amazing friend Katie Weber. She puts out a success pack. And so it's going to be, I think it's February 3rd or 4th, when is the Lunar New Year. And she puts out this incredible success pack that I swear by. I have been buying this success pack for years now, and it has been invaluable to me how much it is that it has helped my work. It has helped me understand my own energy. It's helped me to understand my own environment. And I can't say enough good things about my friend Katie Weber. I started out as her fan, and now I am not just a fan, I'm her friend as well. But really, I gain so much from her work, and I'm just really, really grateful for it. And I'm so excited to share it with you for another year. And so again, description below, learn about her success pack, learn about her perspective for the coming 2019 lunar year of the pig. It's going to be a really great year. Now, other events, save the date, keep in mind, in May, I will be in Vancouver and in Seattle. And Labor Day weekend, I will be in Baltimore. So there's lots of other amazing things coming up, and I look forward to meeting you there and in person. I'm sure there's some other online stuff that's going to come up as we go along, and I look forward to meeting you there online or in person and in real time. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me. I should mention the Mexico event in Xixim that is taking place sort of the last week, the end of January, beginning of February, where I will be speaking as a special guest on February 2nd. It has sold out, so thank you so much to everybody who's going to be there. The event is sold out. There is a waiting list at this point, so if you want to join world-renowned astrologer Maurice Fernandez, a world-renowned evolutionary astrologer, for a truly transformative and spiritual event that is going to be taking place with other incredible astrologers as well, well, you can learn more about it, again, in the description below. Well, thank you. Keep in mind, with all the energy this week, a couple of things with all that cardinal energy. And what I mean by cardinal is the cardinal signs are going to feel this very strongly. Of course, the sign of Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries are going to find this to be one of those times that is that much more powerfully transformative. But all signs out there in some way will be able to grow through and benefit from this energy. That beautiful energy between Mars and Venus is going to be that much more easy to access by the air signs and the fire signs. So the air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So these signs are going to find it that much easier to bring forward the more romantic side, but every sign out there is going to find a way to benefit from this energy in beautiful and powerful ways. And of course, with a sky like this, it does say that all of us are on a journey, our own personal journey towards greater truth and Yes, greater authenticity. We are still in a period between eclipses. It is this time when the ancients said that the veil between the worlds was especially thin. It makes it that much easier to see the spiritual journey, to see the spiritual lesson, to learn and to grow and to evolve and improve our lives in some way, and not get caught up in the illusion, not get caught up in the mundane circumstances, but rather go to a deeper, more authentic place within us, where we recognize the love and wisdom playing out in all of our moments. So wherever it is for you and however it is, I hope that you will take that moment to contemplate and see through that veil towards an essential truth of love and wisdom that you are ready for. Well, thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.